I'm Rachel Salmons, and I did Helping Children Cope. And overall, I've seen that children grieve and cope differently than their parents, but it's their parents' job to help them learn how to cope. But the article I saw, it tells us how to help children cope, how to and not to say things to help them cope, and how children actually cope by themselves. The article starts off by saying the parent cannot help the kid deal with loss until they first acknowledge their own feelings. The parents have to cope themselves before they help anybody. And grief experts say the way children see their parents react to cope with loss will shape their perspective and interpretation of death. The parent must learn to cope before helping a child, or it may shape their perspective on death in a way that they cannot cope for themselves in the future. The article goes on to saying that children are not stupid. Do not lie to them. Parents must answer kids' questions very simply and honestly, but they also have to learn to be patient because they're going to ask the same questions over and over and over again. Like, where's Grandpa? You just sit down calmly and say, remember Grandpa died. Don't tell them he went to sleep. They'll be terrified to go to sleep that they're never going to wake up. Don't say they went on a vacation, because if you decide to take your kid on vacation to Disney World, they hear the word vacation and they'll be terrified to go to Disney World because Grandpa went on vacation and he never came back. Tell them the truth. Do not over exaggerate it. Children will believe what you say, but they will take it in their new perspective and never perceive things the way they used to, the way normal children do. Finally, the article goes on by saying that kids work through their feelings by playing, and kids continue to deal with grief periodically. Parents may not hear anything about loss from a child for months and weeks, and all of a sudden there's the question again, where's Grandpa? And all you gotta do is answer. It comes in different ways. The kid could be playing with dress up with her dolls, and her baby doll dies, and she's crying and trying to make it wake up. She will bring you that baby doll and say, Mommy, wake my baby up, she's dead. It's a hard way to handle this. You can just say, well, why'd he die? That's not that. She's seeing that baby doll as Grandpa. There's nothing you can do besides be calm, be honest, and be patient. That's the way they grieve. And I've got all this from Family Magazine. Being a new apprentice, I'm only 19. I don't have any kids. I haven't answered a lot of children's questions. I've never been asked. I look like a kid myself. But I chose this topic so one day, if I am asked, and when I am asked, I can help them. I've done a lot of research. But even though I'm young and I'm new to the funeral home, I have not dealt with, but I have seen children coping by themselves. My cousin, she was 12 when my grandmother died. She went through many different stages of grief, but the ones I remember, she became destructive. She got kicked out of school for a week because she was being rude to her family, not to her friends, because her family was too struck by grief. They could not help her. They would not help her because every time she said something, they just cried and went away. But she became destructive. She started messing people's yards up. She started destroying the house, making a mess everywhere because she wanted the attention. The only thing that snapped her out of it, because she saw her little sister. The little sister was not yet 7. She was still 6. And her sister she stayed in her room. It was almost like depression, but she's a kid. And she said she was always in her room because every time she asked her mom what's going on, her mom would start squalling and run away. She was afraid she was making her mother upset, and there was nothing she could do about it but stay in her room and stay out of the way. It wasn't until she started playing with her toys, she herself made her baby dolls die, and she made her own graves for them. And she wouldn't play with them anymore. And her older sister stepped in got over her own grief, and helped her sister. Being there for her sister was the best thing that could ever happen to her. It helped her cope, it helped her younger sister cope, and it helped her family because they were still grieving themselves, and them being already coped, they could grieve until they were ready. Like the article said, the loss of a loved one is the most difficult experience for us all to navigate. Regardless our age, we must all help each other cope and just help. Be there. Be calm, be patient, and tell the truth. If you're not ready, ask your sister or ask your grandpa. They will be there to help. Thanks.